In our previous video, number 14, where we discussed what was human capital and the sources of human capital, in this video number 15, we will discuss the human capital formation in India. Now here, the 7th five-year plan gave importance to the human capital formation and its role in the economic growth. Here in India, expenditure on education and health are carried out by all three tiers of the government. The three tiers are the union government, that is the center, then the state governments, and the local governments, that is municipal corporations, municipalities, village panchayats, all of them come under this local government. The education at the center and state levels are taken care of by the NCERT, the National Council of Education and Research and Training. Then UGC, University Grants Commission, and the AICTE, which is All India Council of Technical Education. So these regulate the education sector. So the ministries of health at the union and state level, departments of health, and various organizations like the ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, regulate the health sector. Okay, so departments of health and organizations, these regulate the health sectors, whereas the NCERT, UGC, and AICTE regulate the education sector. However, there are certain problems in the human capital formation in India. The first among them is population. A large population would mean a reduction in per capita income, because population adversely affects the quality of human capital formation in developing countries. A large population would mean a huge investment in education and health. So this diverts the scarce money to the production of human capital at the cost of physical capital. Then it is a long-term process. Producing skilled manpower is a slow process. Okay, because the process which produces skilled manpower is very, very slow. Then regional and gender inequality also reduce human development. There is brain drain, that is migration of skilled labor from one place to the other. So this could be from the rural areas where the occupations which are very, very important, people are losing on these occupations because they move from the rural areas into the urban areas in search of the daily wage. They are so called the daily wage workers. Then migration of people from the home country to the foreign countries in search of better jobs. The creamy layer or these intelligent ones, they move out of the country looking for better jobs and better income. So there is brain drain. Then poverty levels. High poverty levels also reduce the human capital, because a large population in places like India, a large proportion of the population lives below the poverty line, and they do not have the access to basic health and educational facilities. Though we have certain kind of things like health for all and then education for all, the large section of the society also cannot afford to get higher education because of their income, and also expensive medical treatment for major diseases. Then low academic standards would mean less skill. Skill enhances human capital, whereas if the labor is not skilled, it would reduce the productivity, isn't it? With a large number of educational institutions in India spread over the country, we definitely have produced a large number of graduates and postgraduates. But these people are deficient in skills, and this would definitely affect the efficiency and productivity. Then we have the manpower planning, deficient manpower planning. This would imply an imbalance of demand and supply of labor. Due to lack of proper planning for use of manpower, we fail to achieve the target. As a result, human resource along with natural resources and other resources are not properly used. So due to this, a low level of economic growth is realized. Let's now try to understand the differences between the physical capital and human capital. Physical capital includes machines, buildings, etc., which are used to produce the tangible goods. Whereas human capital would mean skill and expertise acquired through education. This would increase the efficiency of production of these tangible goods. Now, under physical capital, the goods can be sold in the market, which are tangible goods. So, they can be sold in the market. Whereas this human capital includes services. So, they cannot be sold in the goods cannot be sold, but services can be sold in the market. So, under human capital, services can be sold, whereas physical capital, goods can be sold in the market. Physical capital, these goods are separable from the owner, whereas services include skill and expertise, isn't it? So, they are non-separable from the owners. This physical capital creates physical or private benefit. The benefit is only private. That means only to the person to whom the good belongs. Whereas human capital is both private as well as social benefit. Why private? Because it is non-separable from the person. So it provides a private benefit. It would benefit the person. It would also provide a benefit to the society. Then physical capital can be built through imports, whereas human capital can be built through policy formulations. Physical capital depreciates over time. Because it includes machines and other things, depreciation is a must. So it depreciates over time due to continuous use and due to the incoming of new technology. So once the technology gets outdated, it cannot be used anymore, and so it has to be replaced with new technology if we want the production to go up. Then human capital depreciates, but it depreciates with age. As a person grows old, his efficiency to do work might depreciate. But it can be reduced. How? With continuous investment in health and education. So if you keep yourselves abreast of the knowledge and the skill part, and also a person looks after his health carefully, then this depreciation can be taken care of. Finally, let's understand how is human capital different from human development. So as the name tells us, here it is capital, so which can be used to produce or increase production, whereas development is very specific because it implies an enhancement in the skill set or health. Okay, so human capital is here. We will learn education and health are a means only to increase the labor productivity. Just like any physical capital is used in the production of goods, a human capital with the help of education and health can be used to increase the labor productivity. Whereas human development, here education and health are integral to human well-being. If one is educated and his skill sets improve, and if one is healthy, this would mean that this is integral to a person's well-being. Now, under human capital, humans are treated as a means to an end. Means to an end would mean that they are used to increase the productivity. Whereas human development is humans are an end in themselves, because this helps them to improve upon themselves, and hence they are an end in themselves. Human development would also mean that every individual has a right to get his basic education and basic health care. That is, every individual has a right to be literate and lead a healthy life. Finally, with Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, that is education for all, adult as well as youth, and compulsory education up to 14 years of age, and the Swachhata Abhiyan, that is bringing in cleanliness in order to improve the health conditions of the people, and gender equity, where girls and boys, both of them, are given equal importance, where the social status of women is to save them from exploitation, okay, and then taking care of their health and fertility rates, and also the higher education would reduce the unemployment in the youth. Now, the new education policy that is announced in this year 2020 is also very important because the Ministry of Education is inviting the foreign universities to set up their educational institutions or branches in India so that students from India do not move out to other countries for higher education. Similarly, India is going to have its branches for higher education in other countries where, the other students who want to join Indian universities can join these universities. Finally, the need of the hour is to better it qualitatively and provide such conditions so that they are utilized in our own country.